Hey, thanks for checking out Nuts and Bolts with Tone. Welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about something pretty exciting. So I've been very fortunate over the past 6 months. I won multiple giveaways at Christmas time, and kind of thought it was like a fluke. It was the end. I've never really won anything. I mean, heck, half the time I sign up for all these giveaways and share your friends and share it to your profile and all that. I think to myself, oh, okay, I've already won however many, there's no way I'm going to win anymore. Sometimes I almost don't even sign up to try it. And so anyways, Dynamic Tools had a giveaway, and I won. Found out like a few weeks ago that I won a $100 gift card to Dynamic Tools. So I went to their website. Oh, this probably took me, 2 or 3 different visits before I ever really fully decided what I wanted, because there's a lot of good stuff on there, and kind of torn. I have a lot of tools, and so it's kind of hard to find the stuff that you really want. Sometimes there's things that you want that are more or whatever. But so today I'm going to share with you what I picked. Let's check it out. I'm pretty excited. So I just received this the other day. I have not tried anything out. I opened it up and pretty much left it to record first. So everything is brand spanking new. So let's see here. All right. So the first thing I got this because sometimes you got to cut through battery cables. Sometimes I had a Chrysler. It wasn't a Chrysler 300. It was maybe it was a 300. It was a Chrysler 300 that had a pretty severe engine fire. And I actually was really surprised when they decided to fix it. And this thing you could tell it had a monstrous stereo system in the trunk with a lot of power cables. I found so many power cables and grounds. It was ridiculous. It was crazy. And so it didn't surprise me that there was a fire. I mean, there was so many power cables, and the trunk was just burned beyond belief. I mean, the battery was gone. All the battery cables were gone. The harness, which is about probably like that thick, was just burned up. I ended up, and because the harness is kind of part of the fuse box assembly, we ended up having to get a used fuse box assembly for the trunk. Now, I didn't have another Chrysler 300 around, so I didn't have anything to reference this to, where it mounts to, where it hooks to. I had to take a lot out of this car. We tried to replace the battery cable assembly. I thought it was part of the fuse box assembly. I had most of the dash out of this thing. I had all the panels, the seats, all the trim panels out of this thing. And turns out the battery cable assembly wasn't serviceable. They didn't have it. Nobody had it. It wasn't available. But I did get the fuse box assembly, and I had to solder in probably like 100 wires at least. It was a lot. And anyways, I had to make a battery cable assembly, and it was a pain. The positive cable on this car was this big around. So I had to make it. I had to solder. I had to actually get a connector, solder 2 pieces of a battery cable together, try to loop it around. I didn't have a good cutter. And if you use your regular wire cutters, it doesn't really cut good. You have to make a couple cuts. So first tool. On to the first tool. And this is a dynamic tool. And you'll see why I say dynamic. So this is a cable cutter. So this is designed for cutting cable. I've never had anything for cutting like big cables. So there we go. Nice grips, feels good, nice and comfortable, feels pretty good. It feels pretty, it gives a nice grip. I feel like if I had to put a little bit of effort in there, it's not going to hurt my hands. So I definitely would recommend these as a cable cutter. And in the future, we'll come back to these as I cut any cables following my Instagram, because that's where you'll most likely see it, is on Instagram. So the next tool, I've always wanted these, I've never had any. So I have automatic wire strippers, but it's the kind where you have to put it into, you have to find the right size, stick the wire through, pull the cable, and then it cuts it, right? I've always wanted to get some that were completely automatic. And so I haven't tried these out yet. I haven't used these yet. But anyways, so here we go. I got some automatic wire strippers, dynamic tools. And the first time I use these will definitely be on Instagram as well. So we're going to cut through there. It looks like it's got some crimpers here. So if you wanted to crimp down, you could. I have a lot of tools for that. It's got a cutter. Looks like a spot to cut right there. And it feels good. Has a nice feel to it. So it says, all right, so we got insulated crimper right here, non-insulated crimper there, and not sure what else. Oh, and then a wire cutter. And it tells you right here what all the features are. All right, so dynamic tools, automatic wire stripper. Okay, can't wait to try this out. Hopefully these work well. I've always wanted to get some that all I had to do was stick the wire through. And so we're going to try these out. And let's see, does it say it goes from 10 to 24 gauge? So that's what we're going to cover. 10 to 24 gauge. Oh, okay. This is pretty cool right here. So this plastic piece here, okay, you push your wire up against this orange piece here, okay? And that is how far of a strip you're going to have. So right here, it actually tells you right next to the orange, if you, so right there, all the way up against, that's a 1/4 inch. It's going to strip it 1/4 of an inch. And so what you do is you move this all the way out. Now you push your wire through this way, up against the orange thing. This is what holds the wire, and then this is what strips it, it looks like. So see, yeah, so it grabs it, and then it pulls it. So anyways, at the full length, it looks like it's going to be 3/4 of an inch. So you set this to decide how much you want. So it looks like it's kind of, so there you go. 3/4, I think half, and 1/4. So that's pretty cool. That gives you a good gauge, so that way you're not guessing. You push it up against the orange and strip it. Dynamic tools, right there. I like these. Stay tuned on the Instagram. I will definitely show you these first time I use them on the Instagram. And that's where we'll really see if they're good or not, because that's when we'll see if they work. So actually, I'll go get a piece of wire and we'll try those out. All right, the next tool is, okay, so I've always wanted to invest in some good snap ring pliers. Now, I don't need them very often. Sometimes doing hub bearings, doing brakes on front-wheel drive, not on front-wheel drive, on four-wheel drive SUVs and things like that. Sometimes you need a big snap ring plier. You need a strong snap ring plier sometimes. Sometimes the four-wheel drive stuff is easy. A couple pocket screwdrivers, you can pop them out. But now a hub bearing, different story. So what I have is I have a set that are adjustable. You have a screwdriver and you open it up. You change the bits out. It's not very good. The bits aren't very strong. And I've kind of struggled with it over the years. Right now I have it set up where I can do inside or outside, pulling it or pushing it open, either way. It's not very good. I've always wanted to, I always look at like a set where somebody has like the box and it's got all the different snap ring pliers, and it's pretty expensive, and I never really wanted to invest in a set like that because I don't use them very often. But I wanted a set that was, like heavy duty enough. I just did something recently, and man, I wish I could remember what it was. It was the most strenuous snap ring I've ever had to do. It was so difficult. And my pliers weren't big enough. They weren't strong enough. I really struggled. I had pocket screwdrivers and picks and praying to God that thing didn't pop out because it was strong. And I wish I could remember what it was. Whatever it was rough, it was hard, and hence the next tool. Now, this is the first tool I actually picked on there. The very first tool I picked, oh, here, let's look at it before I open it up. So this on the Dynamic Tools website, they also have gray tools. Now, I'm not one of those guys that's going to go and tell you everything you need to know about every company and whether it's USA made and not USA made, made in Taiwan, made in China, researching it, you know, rebranded from here and there and whatever. I'm not going to do all that. I don't do all that. I don't really care about all of that. Most of the time I can tell if something is rebranded when you look at the same tool and it's always the same. You take a rethreader, for example. We've talked about this before. I have Craftsman. I have people. I've seen 6 or 7 different sets. They're all identical. And you know that only one person makes that set. It's kind of like a ball joint press. A ball joint press, they're all the same. Maybe you have a different quality. Obviously, the Harbor Freight is the cheaper quality because I've already had 2 of them strip out. And, you know, I'm sure an OTC is not going to strip out. So maybe it's a matter of the type of metal that's used. It's made at the same place. It's made by the same people. It's boxed by the same people. It's made out of different metal, obviously, because the OTC is definitely not going to strip out like the Harbor Freight. But that's why I have the Harbor Freight, you know, because I mean, the OTC, what, probably $300 or something. The Harbor Freight's like 60 or 70. Just guessing. Just the difference in price is a lot. So, snap ring pliers. Gray Tools. I don't know if Gray Tools is made by Dynamic. I know it's on their website. I know you can click on both. And so, anyways, so there was 2 different sets, and one of them was out of stock, and I'm not sure if the other set that was out of stock was smaller than this one, but so this one here, you can see it goes all the way down to, I mean, that's pretty, here, that's a pretty small snap ring right there. That's as small as it looks like it's going to go. It's got an Allen on each end to open it up to change the bits. So that's these bits here. We've got bits of all sorts, 90 degrees. We've got bits with little tiny tips, bigger tips. So here's what the bit set looks like. All kinds of different tips, different types of metal. Looks like we have some silver ones, some I don't know, maybe it's some brass. I'm not sure what the different colors are. Black. Like I said, I don't mess with snap rings a lot, but when I do, I want to make sure that it's going to work right. So the other cool thing about these is, you ever take something off and you really want it to stay where it needs to be? Like, let's say you're taking a hose clamp off and it's a pain in the butt, and it's hard to get the tool down there. You know, you got the long cable tool, and you're squeezing it. You get the snapper, you got the hose clamp pliers to pull it. It's open. You slip the hose off. Let's say maybe you're changing a radiator, a thermostat, whatever, and you want it to stay on there because it was hard to do. And so you leave it, right? It's ratcheting and it locks in place. So snap rings are the same way. I've taken some off and I really didn't want to try to open that thing back up, or vice versa, because it was a pain. Well, so we have a ratcheting set here. So hang on. All right. So you push this down, and this is the locking mechanism. So here we're going to push an external one. We're going to open it up to get it off of like an axle to 4-wheel drive type stuff. Okay. So we're going to, again, pull this down, and it's going to go the opposite way. Now we're going to flip this lever here, and then now hang on, they're still brand new. I haven't even. All right, so now now we've opened it up. Now remember, it's ratcheting, so this is for an interior one. So we're gonna open it up, and it's gonna lock in place outward, okay? And now we're gonna flip the lever, And now we're going to change it to external. And now it's going to come in. And then now we're going to go from here. Now it's going to lock in place this way. So now you're going to be way out here. And now it's going to lock in place that way. So it can lock in place either way. External, internal. I like this. I'm excited to use this. And now I get some big old diesel stuff that has snap rings. That's going to be the smasher right there. Stay tuned on the Instagram. I'll be showing you those. Now the next thing is, I have had a set of hammers from Harbor Freight since I started. 16 years. I bought a 5-piece hammer set. That's what my instructor told me to buy in my initial set of tools. And I bought it, and I've had it for 16, 17 years. However long. It's been, I keep saying 16, but time's moving on. 16, 17 years, I've had it for a long time. And I have 3 of them at work. I have 2 of them at home. So at work, I just have like a small, medium, and a large one. But they're Harbor Freight. They're not, you know, they're old, and, you know, they don't have a good feel to them. But anyways, I always wanted to buy like a good ball peen hammer. Never owned a good one. So one that you would like replace the handle on if something happened to it, you know. So anyways, so that is my last purchase here, a Dynamic Tools ball peen hammer. Now this one is a 24 ounce. So this is actually pretty good. I use this type of hammer a lot. I don't break out the sledge when I'm doing steering and suspension a lot unless I have to. But I like the feel of this. It's got a nice feel. It's got a nice long handle, so I can get 2 hands on there and really get a nice hit. The ball peen is good for knocking axles through, knocking bolts. You know, you want to just hit it. You don't want to smash the end of it because it's going to mess up the threads. And then, you know, you hit it right here. You can hit it in the center. So I like the ball peen. So the Dynamic Tools hammer. All right, so this has been my tool haul from my winning of a Dynamic Tools gift card. And bought all this stuff. I think I still have like $11 left on my gift card. So pretty excited about that. I can't wait to go back. I think there's a couple pullers I want to get. I want to invest in a couple pullers. So then they have 2 of them, and those are next. So thanks for checking out the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Definitely go check out Dynamic Tools. Look at Gray Tools. And I will put a link in the description below for the website and also the tools that I got. So thanks for checking out the video. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell. You get notified of all of my future content, which you're going to want to see. Also, check me out on Instagram at Nuts and Bolts with Tone. And you also will see these tools in use when I first use them. So that's when we'll see. Are they good? Are they bad? So until next time, see ya.